Good Monday evening, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith on the 18th of January, 2021. And we've got a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of considerable speak of winter's over or winter canceled here in the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia I-95 corridor, and that's not really the case. We're going to break this down for you a few more times here during this broadcast as we continue to provide you with excellent meteorology. And of course, there has been a few people here and there that have kind of like, well, teed me off, basically. And, well, people come, people go. You know, you could have your own viewpoint in life, but mine is solid in meteorology, and that's why I continue to be Garden State Weather. And the visible satellite review this afternoon, early this evening, shows a lot of that cold air cumulus here out over the Atlantic. And of course, on our south to southwest wind, we have some, the satellite is actually dying out now because the satellite's not dying, the sun is setting at 4:06 this evening. That's why you're seeing this. Lots of stratocumulus clouds, broken clouds across the area today. We've seen a few flurries in the area too, most of them not reaching the ground. If we did composite radar, we can definitely see there were some spokes of energy that were moving through on the flow here. Nothing of significance and nothing that I've seen actually counts, but the air is cold enough, so we've seen some flurry activity across these reaches, but none of this has really reached the ground. And when we go back here and look at the Doppler radar mosaic here out of Mount Holly, we can see the shower or flurry activity moving through with a couple of shortwave disturbances moving through this flow. And the type of precipitation that's moving through this flow, we can see this now, is generally virga in the form of snow showers, but maybe a few raindrops as well and lower elevations here. But you can definitely see that not much here has been going on. Taking a look at the water vapor and 500 millibar vorticity across the continental United States, we had a trough axis move through the region this morning into the afternoon with a couple of vortexes along it. If we stop this here, there's a couple of vortexes here. This is an upper level low over south of the Baja here. And you see this cold flow right here through the northeast and into the mid-Atlantic region with a semi-zonal flow here from west to east across the continental divide here to the east coast with a couple of short waves minoring out in this flow pattern. Things are getting interesting though, I have to tell you that. Back upstairs, let's go back upstairs now to the water vapor channel. Lots of disturbances in the polar flow here, a couple of weak disturbances. This is not great by any means, but you can see that there's plenty of motion here in the atmosphere. Lots of dry and sinking air across the southeast all the way into Mexico and parts of Florida too. May seem like the pattern has been quite benign for most people this month of January so far, but in the northern mid-Atlantic anyway, but things are really going to start to change. Just have to have a little bit of patience. I know that seems hard to come by these days. Let's take a look at the national hazards this afternoon. There's a few here in New York State and up into Vermont and New Hampshire and into portions of Maine for red flag warnings or high wind warnings, basically even winter weather advisories as disturbances come across the lakes here and then provide some snow for the foothills here of the Green and White Mountains here. There's also a little bit of a winter weather advisory here in Pennsylvania, if this is correct here, down through down through the Virginias here into the Carolina coast, Carolinas, the Intermountain regions here. Same thing to the northwest. High wind watches out here in California as well. So, and some red flag warnings too in Southern California where it's been very hot. Temperatures here have been very, very hot. And we take a look at the observations. Let's do the real-time temperatures this afternoon. This is this afternoon, and it is quite warm. in California and the southern plains here, all the way into Texas and the deep southeast. Well, warm by average for this time of the year, but notice all of this air here in the northern plains, all the way down through the northern mid-Atlantic areas, especially south of Hudson's Bay here. There's a lot of cold air building in here. This is Arctic air that is building in pulses into the eastern United States. If we took a look at the 24-hour temperature changes here, that should be coming right up. Should be. Well, the 24-hour temperature change map isn't coming up, but you can see the wind chill here. It's cold. And the cold is building into the eastern United States. It's just going to take a little bit of time, folks. Once again, over the last 72 hours ending 7 a.m. this morning, the heaviest snow has been across the New York State and Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, portions of the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee River Valley area as well. But there is our snow hole here across the northeastern United States, including New Jersey, the New York City metropolitan area, the I-95 corridor down through the northern mid-Atlantic. Don't worry, things will change. It's a fine January afternoon, evening out there, depending on your point of view. Temperatures this afternoon at 4:17 p.m. as we're doing this broadcast are in the mid to upper 30s here across Sussex County and parts of northeastern New Jersey as well, but most temperatures are in the low to the mid 40s. And that's not bad, actually. That's not really bad. Let's take a look at our maximum readings this afternoon. If this comes up, yeah, it does. Temperatures, again, struggling into the low and lower 40s, upper 30s here in Sussex, low to mid 40s just about everywhere else, and that's not really bad at all. And our temperature minimums this morning, basically below freezing to near freezing just about everywhere, and above freezing, of course, as you get near the coast. Not surprising. Let's take a look at the upstairs here from the European Model Guidance 500 millibar cyclonic relative vorticity. Either it's negative in the blues or it's positive in the greens, yellows, and reds. And we're finding a very split flow pattern here in the continental United States and all of North America, but this is a very active weather pattern. Notice that cutoff low near Baja, California, and that is in the subtropical branch, but the northern branch, the polar branch, is very active too, with a cutoff low here entering California over the next couple of days into this weekend coming up, actually. But the flow, notice this. This is a Greenland block here, so this tells me, well, a couple of things, actually. It tells me that there's a lot of blocking here in the North Atlantic, and the negative NAO is in place. The Arctic oscillation is negative and tanking. But there is, once again, a discontinuity between these short waves and upper level lows here in this pattern and this subtropical jet stream in this pattern. So we have a west to east flow going across the country. And we can see this as we move forward. There is still a disconnection in the troublesome winter that we're having with trying to get a winter storm here on the East Coast. And as we go out to January, what is this? Thursday, January 28th here. Again, all the mechanisms are in place, but just doesn't look spectacular to me at this point yet. No. Taking a look at the European Model Guidance from this morning. Yeah, I think we have the wrong date here. Yeah, we're back. And look at this strat over. I mean, it's totally disrupted the polar vortex into multiple vortices here. One here, and one here. But again, with the another stratospheric warming event happening over the pole right now, forecast it to, again, break the polar vortex 7 days from now as it reaches around the other side of the pole. You've got one vortex here over Asia, another over Russia, and the other in England. And so, and again, some of this cold air bleeding into at the upper reaches of the stratosphere into the Aleutian Islands. And as we head down to 10 days here, well, that warming here is now weakening. It's still strong, but it's pulled the polar vortex all the way and stretching it all the way back, and it's trying to rebuild itself here over the Arctic Circle, while another strat warming event builds around the pole. And so it's like a roly-poly world that's going on here now, and you know, where it stops, no one really knows. When we look at the GFS model guidance of the stratosphere here, this is from NCEP. Again, it's completely broken down, and that warming is occurring over the side of the other side of the pole, but again, breaking down the polar vortex into multiple areas here, and this sudden stratospheric warming is going to have a real impact on our forecast going forward as we head into early February, because what the GFS wants to do is have this warming break up the polar vortex into multiple vortices, and the GFS is showing this to happen over Hudson's Bay. If this happens here, the eastern United States underneath this is going to get very cold and very stormy. Again, you still need linkage from ENSO and the MJO going in the right direction here before you could get linkage with the stratospheric cooling here across Hudson Bay into the eastern United States. Now remember, when things cool in the stratosphere, they warm in the troposphere. So that's where the 500 millibar heights come into play. So we're going to look at the GFS model guidance here for the 500 millibar height anomalies over the continental United States. And you see all the below average heights here over the East Coast as we start off this afternoon. And then as we move through, more cold pools coming in. And look at that cutoff low here over Baja, California. And the cold pools come in and they wax and wane, and then we get into a warming. But notice what's happening on the west. Everything is changing with the stratosphere and then into the troposphere, as everything there started out relatively warm, and now it's changing. And that change will progress east with this warming here in the stratosphere that reaches down into the troposphere here over Hudson's Bay, Canada, by the time we get to 10 days out here towards the end of the month on the 26th. Again, lots of changes are coming into this pattern, and it's a guessing game as to how all of this is really going to start to play out, because this is really rocking and rolling here in the weather charts. Taking a look at the teleconnections in the North Atlantic Oscillation here, they're all in the negative, supposedly going into a positive and then rapidly sinking back into a negative area here at the end of the month, according to the NCEP GFS. And if this occurs, there could be a storm potential here during this time frame. The Arctic Ice Oscillation is all predominantly negative, but it wants to reach up on the EPS data here and the high resolution European model guidance, or the Korean model guidance. Actually, it's the Korean model guidance that wants to raise it here above and then below again as we head into February. So a lot of things that are changing. PNA, you want it to be positive if you want an East Coast troughing, and then it goes negative, and it's trying to rebuild itself up here in the mid to late part of the month. But this portion of the forecast here over the Pacific doesn't look good if you want troughing to sustain itself in the eastern United States, and that's what this diagram is showing right now, and that doesn't really look good to me. No. And following that is the EPO, the Eastern Pacific Oscillation. That is like all over the place here. It's negative, it goes positive, negative, then positive here. So this doesn't look good either to me for East Coast storms. This should be here, right here. Once again, going back to Doppler radar with those snow showers here, we do have the National Weather Service coming out with a special weather statement here for Sussex County and areas in the Poconos here. And I think I got this wrong. So let's do that special weather statement right now. And that's for snow showers in the higher elevations, cities of Newton and Stroudsburg here. Snow showers reducing visibilities. Again, not expecting much here. Over the next 48 hours on the HRR version 4, the latest update to the HRR model, high resolution rapid refresh, we see those snow showers coming in from off the Great Lakes, some of them touching off a little bit in the Poconos, but other than that, maybe just a snow squall coming in on Wednesday if you live northwestern New Jersey, but other than that, looks quite benign to me. But cold. Yes, cold. Well, these models are struggling. And yeah, the atmosphere is struggling too, just like everybody else is on the ground with COVID and all of the other nonsense that's going on in this world. And when we look at the precipitation charts from the European model guidance from this morning, again, snow showers to the north and east with these weak perturbations, low pressure in the northern jet, rain showers in the southern jet across the south. Nothing really looks interesting or stands out to me at all. Here comes the next system for next Monday and Tuesday with isentropic lift. The European model guidance wants to bring in a little bit of snow and then holds back the rain on the rain. And then it brings another storm system along the old stalled out frontal boundary with high pressure over Hudson's Bay, Canada, 1036 millibars, and it's strong, and it's suppressing the snow to the south, so people like Virginia and other areas are going to get it, but then it dries it up. Here comes the next storm in the northern branch here with isentropic lift as we head into the 28th. So it nothing really stands out to me in any kind of perfection here at this point. No. So if you really want a winter storm along the East Coast, and I know everybody does, most people that contact me via social media want a winter storm, but unfortunately I can't provide that for you if it's not in the calling cards just yet. That doesn't mean the models are going to have everything correct in a 10 to 15 day fashion here. It just means that they're struggling to figure out the jet structure underneath all of the things that are happening in the stratosphere. And so the bird's singing. Yeah, he's always going to be singing. He sings regardless of whether you like it or not. For everything live, it's GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm meteorologist Robert Smith. Have a pleasant evening.